there's a thing called learned helplessness. And
Mm,
and it's the theory of when so many things have happened to you negatively in your life that
right.
you start to believe that nothing good can ever change in your life. Nothing good could ever happen. And so you get in this learned helplessness and you can't get out of it.
But now, without any further ado, I would love to bring to the stage Miss Shareen King. Woo! How are you, ma'am? Oh, wait.
You would think I know how to operate a laptop. I do work in television production. I can work a laptop.
Sometimes it happens. It's all good. It's all good. I was just telling everybody. I was just about to tell them about the King's Daughters, and that
Oh,
they can find you on Producer Girl 4 on all social media platforms. But
yeah.
on top of that, tell us all about you.
That's a big open. Tell us all about you. First of all, I like to thank you for inviting me into your space to talk to all your peoples. You look like
Thank
you was
you.
having a great time with Miss J.R. Mason. I am scared to read her books, by the way. I'm like, oh Lord, kill your
Girl, me
co-workers.
too.
I'm like, we talking about this on live on Instagram Live. I was like, oh Lord. That's hilarious. I love how you could tell how much she loves her books and her writing because it shows
Yes.
her conversation. So I enjoyed listening in the wings to that segment. But I am from the Lower East Side of Manhattan. I'm born and raised New Yorker, and I grew up in a I would say my family is pretty big. I had a lot of aunts and uncles and cousins, and I have four siblings on my mom's side, and then three siblings on my dad's side. So there's a few of us in there, and I I went to college at SUNY Stony Brook, which was, back then we didn't know we were so fancy in the Hamptons, but come to find out we was up there in Montauk with the fancy people going
Okay,
to school.
fancy. I like how you said it. You didn't know you were fancy.
We didn't
You
know. We didn't
thought
know.
everybody was living like that.
We didn't know we was living like that. We was like, was we fancy when we was in school? Because we thought we was just, doing the thing. But now the Hamptons is so popular. It's like, oh, we went to school in the Hamptons.
Love that.
Like, okay. And then I found my way into community leadership while I was on campus, and that led me into entertainment. I became a concert promoter, and I
Okay.
started working with different celebrities and entertainers, and then that kind of shifted me into the whole area of working in the music business. And then I went from working in the music business into the television business, and this is where I have been in television and film. So I tried to condense my whole life in 2 seconds.
Well, tell us about the book because see, that's gonna make you expand on yourself.
Yes, yes. Okay, so my book, it's a memoir. It's called Candy's Girl, and it's the power of faith to help conquer life storms. And so, little backstory: my mom was her nickname was Candy's Girl, and like I said, I grew up in the Lower East Side. And when I was little, she was involved in some very, you know, crazy street life friends,
Mhm.
and she was involved with some drug dealers and things, and so she was murdered when I was a little girl.
Wow.
And so I had all these different life situations that kind of took me through a different path of trauma all throughout my life. Like, so my mom was murdered, then my dad got on drugs and he was addicted to drugs for a while, and then my sister died, and then my grandmother died, and all these different things just kept happening to me. And so I had all this trauma. But what happened was I lived kind of with all of that inside of me and never really dealing with it, because
Mm-hmm.
when we were younger, you stood in a child's place. Nobody never really
Right.
spoke to kids. You didn't get help the way you should have, and everything was kind of, you kept all your secrets in your house and don't tell everybody outside what's going on at home, that kind of thing. And so as an adult, I created these patterns in my life that, I made decisions based on the things that happened to me in my childhood, but I didn't
Yeah.
discover that until I wrote the book. So the book became a blueprint for me and a foundation for me to beat adversity, right? How to beat adversity, how to overcome suffering and tragedy and things that happen into your life where you can excel and be successful in your life. And so my book is a blueprint for that. It basically came out of me wanting to know more about why I make certain decisions in my life and wanting to heal myself.
Mm-hmm.
And a book came out of it, and when I started just sharing with my friends, like, these different stories in the book, they were like, this is a book. Like, why don't you share this with other people?
Yeah.
And so I had to get out of my own way, in order to accept the fact that this book could probably help people find a way to, help them discover things about themselves that they didn't know, and to help them also beat adversity, because a lot of times we get stuck with adversity. We feel like we're suffering, we become victims, we don't know how to move, we don't know what to do because we don't have the tools. And
Right.
so I had to work on the tools of what do I need to do in order to heal myself from these different situations so that I can be a successful human being.
Amen.
Like, what do
Amen.
I need to do? And so I shared some of those things of what I did, the tools I used, um, just to, kind of process information. And it's very basic. It's not complicated. We a lot of times we make things in our life more complicated than it has to be, but it's
True.
really simple. The only challenge is you have to want to do the work, and you have to sit down and be quiet and just really listen to what it is that is giving you pain in your heart. You know what I
I
mean?
got it. Yeah.
Emotions will give you information. I like to say this all the time. You will get information from all of your emotions. And if you start listening to the things that pain you, you will start to understand, okay, this is something that I need to deal with. This is something I need to work out. I need to understand, why does this feeling keep coming across to me, or why do I keep making these same kind of decisions? And it all goes back to your childhood. I know people say that all the time, but it's because
But it,
it's
it
true.
really does. It
It's
really
because
does.
it's true. It is
Mhm.
because it's true. When we're born, we are born like a little, blueprint of something. And it's like everything that happens to us kind of imprints a formula on us, and it makes us um, make decisions and do things in a certain particular way based on how we have been treated, or what we have
Right.
felt, or what we have been exposed to, and that's why people have different attachments.
Well, one thing I noticed as you were sharing is
Hmm.
that you didn't wait to have it all together before you started writing.
I did.
It almost seemed like a healing process and a learning process. Excuse me. It kind of seemed like a learning process and a healing process along the way.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think that was the mistake that some people make. They think they have to have it all together or they have to have resolved everything before they start writing.
No, you don't have to have it all together. I mean, like I said, it took me years to write everything, because I just started writing things, going to therapy, talking to
Mhm.
different people, reading my word, God unfolding different things to me. It was all of that. And so all of that was my resources of putting the book together. It wasn't just like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and put this and with that and
Right, right,
it just all kind of came together, in that way. And it was interesting because I never thought I would write a book, because for goodness sake, I have ADHD, I've got dyslexia, but it's funny that when you think you have all these particular deficits in your life,
Right.
God will use those deficits to kind of shine a light on you. So
That
I
is
say
very
it's
true.
funny because I work in an industry where I have to write every single day. You know what I mean? I'm a television producer. I have to write every single day. It's not easy for me. I do it, but I have to really concentrate and really work hard at doing it. And I've discovered a way to not become a victim of my different adversities. And that's what I think people fall sometimes short, not of their own fault, but they just, there's a thing called learned helplessness. And
Mm,
and it's the theory of when so many things have happened to you negatively in your life that
right.
you start to believe that nothing good can ever change in your life. Nothing good could ever happen. And so you get in this learned helplessness and you can't get out of it. But that's what I want to show people is that you don't have to be a victim to the suffering and the adversity in your life. You can overcome a lot of things. You just have to really want to do that. And you can do it. It just takes the real mindset of, I don't want to live this way. I want to change. I want to be stronger. I want to be better. I want to have better relationships with people. I want to communicate better. If you're looking for better, you can change yourself.